Hi, San Diego High School Academy. This is Principal Camacho. Today is Thursday, November 5th, and I hope that this video message finds you well and healthy. First, on behalf of the entire SDA staff, I want you to know that we miss your students and can't wait for them to return to campus. As always, safety is at the forefront, and we've been planning with that in mind. Helping me with today's presentation are my assistant principals, Dr. Celeste Barnett, Ms. Katie Bendex, and Dr. Jeremy Meadows. Our goal for this presentation, ahead of tomorrow's Coffee with Camacho at 10 a.m., is to help begin your conversations at home around what the real options are for a student return on January 4th. Our reopening survey, SDA's reopening survey, will be launched on Monday, November 16th. And so this presentation is really the beginning of our information to you that hopefully will help you make an informed decision. These are unprecedented times. How many times have you heard that? And so we want to do our best to really articulate what the on-campus or at-home option is for distance learning as we move forward. So that said, hoping you'll spend the next 12 to 15 minutes with us. At the end of this presentation, there will be an option for you to submit your questions and comments. And as we typically do before a Coffee with Camacho, which we hold on the first Friday of each month throughout the school year, that will help inform our presentation tomorrow. And if you can't make the presentation at 10 a.m. tomorrow, no worries. We plan to record it, and we will send it out to the entire community at Friday's end with the recap, with the video link and also the video link to this presentation. So here we go. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so in a nutshell, here's where we are and where we're going. As you know, we've been in distance learning since the beginning of the school year, where your students have accessed distance learning instruction from home 100% of the time. Given our current health and safety guidelines, the survey is going to ask you for one of two commitments. One, your student will either continue distance learning from home 100% of the time, or two, your student would like to access campus 1 day per week, with the remaining days in that week accessing distance learning from home, as we do now. The goal is always looking at the possibility of increasing days for accessing distance learning from school. I'd like to take just a few seconds to share a heartfelt thank you with our entire SDA community for all the amazing things that are happening now, including distance learning. It's not been easy under the circumstances. We are doing a fantastic job. So proud of the efforts, not only from our teachers and staff, but also from our students, of course, at home. As you're aware, we've been able to bring on targeted groups of students to access distance learning from a learning hub model here on campus. We began doing that in the early weeks in October. In addition to that, we've had assessment and therapy and social emotional supports, among other things, happening for students. And in addition to that, I'd like to quickly thank our ASB and including our parent foundation for supporting the various extracurricular activities that have been happening on campus. We've had anywhere from teachers bringing on small groups, in the theater, music, book clubs, etc. And our ASB has been hard at work providing every opportunity they can to continue to connect kids to their campus and our amazing culture. So just a huge thank you. There's a lot of effort going into making sure that the student experience can still thrive under these circumstances. So again, thank you. As we head into the meat of our presentation, there are some key reopening factors that I'd like for you to consider. First and foremost, the health and safety of our students and staff members is paramount. Pandemic or not, safety has always been at the forefront of our decision making and will continue to do so. We need to make certain that the instructional integrity of our distance learning model is sustained. The way that we do this is by having meaningful conversations with our teachers, as we have been all year, in an effort to provide professional development that they need. As you know, we have a sea of talented teachers, and they are on a daily basis working as hard as they can to be innovative and creative in different ways of delivering the instruction via distance learning model. So that is a focus for us and a critical one. The technology infrastructure is here on our campus, so that's not an issue. What we are waiting for and will subsequently plan for distribution of are the Chromebooks that our district ordered for each of our students in our district. So that is coming soon. And one of the pieces, which is also another area of focus for us, is that missing social interaction. We've heard from students, we've heard from you as parents, we've heard from our teachers. We all are missing that social interaction, and we know how critical that is for your students. We will talk a little bit about what that might look like for those students that choose to be on campus, but please know how important we know that piece is, which is a huge reason why we are trying to continue to come up and be creative with the opportunities, the extracurricular activities that we are providing our students outside of the distance learning bell schedule. And so that's not just a focus on those that are already involved with clubs or sports or whatnot. That is a focus on all kids.
In order for our families to make the most informed decision possible, we wanted to share some health and safety requirements for any student accessing campus. All families must abide by all items detailed in SDUHSD's Health and Safety Agreement, and a signature acknowledgement of this agreement is required to be signed prior to accessing campus. Parents will screen their student for symptoms at home prior to coming to school, including a temperature check, and students will be screened again with no temperature check when they arrive to campus via any of the 4 campus access points shown on the next slide. Masks are required at all times on campus, except when a student is eating during lunch or nutrition break. We do have masks available for students in need or if a mask breaks. Weather permitting, students will eat outdoors during nutrition and lunch break. No eating is permitted inside the classroom. Physical distancing will be monitored during lunchtime, and off-campus privileges will continue. All rooms, including restrooms, will have a max capacity posted by the door, and students and staff must adhere to these capacities. As indicated by the red stop signs on the campus map displayed here, there will be 4 access points for students to enter and exit campus, symptom screening taking place upon entry. At all times on campus, students and staff must wear their masks, maintain 6 feet of distance from others as practical, and abide by directional markers, including enter-only and exit-only signs. In general, rules of the road will apply in hallways, and directional indicators will be placed on the ground. An exception to this will be the SDA shops, which will be one way in, one way out, as indicated on this map, and via directional markings on campus. In classrooms, bathrooms, and common areas, all high-touch surfaces will be disinfected daily. Our diligent custodial staff uses a color-coded cleaning and disinfection log to document this daily safety measure. Physical distancing will be maintained to the maximum extent possible, with student seats at least 1 meter apart and teacher desks 6 feet from the nearest student desk. SDA's ventilation system includes MERV 8+ filters that will be replaced every 3 months, and standalone HEPA filters that have been placed in rooms without HVAC. We are working with the district to obtain additional HEPA filters for each room. We have ordered pop-up tents for our site, so teachers will also have the flexibility to make use of outdoor space for learning. Our classrooms and teachers are equipped with hand sanitizer, spare masks, plexiglass dividers for teacher desks, and more. To increase opportunities for hand washing and adhere to restroom capacities, we have placed portable hand washing stations on campus in a variety of locations. All SDUHSD schools will abide by the District Safe Reopening Plan, which is guided by the CDPH guidelines for reopening for in-person learning. All SDA staff will have participated in a mandatory COVID test and will continue to have access to testing and participate in required testing as directed by the district. Any person experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 while on campus will be immediately cautiously isolated in our dedicated care room. For students, parents will be contacted immediately for pickup. SDUHSD has collaboratively developed an action plan for staff and family communication in the event that a COVID exposure or positive case is experienced on our campus. This action plan is guided by CDC recommendations and will be carried out by our district COVID liaison, district nurse, SDA health tech, and SDA administration. Depending on the specifics of the incident, the school community and/or specific families and staff will be contacted in the event that there is a potential COVID exposure or close contact with a confirmed positive case. Any quarantine requirements leading to campus exclusion will be determined by the district COVID liaison and district nurse in collaboration with public health and clearly communicated with the necessary families and staff.
Two other factors you'll want to consider when making your decision are what will instruction look like and what will the opportunities for social interaction be. All students will be learning from home at least 4 days a week, so it's important for you to understand what both settings will look like. Let's talk about the physical environment. Our classrooms have been reconfigured to align with safety guidelines. This includes having all desks facing forward and being spaced so that students are at least 1 meter apart from each other and at least 6 feet away from the teacher at all times. Both students and teachers will be required to wear a mask at all times when in the classroom. And because teachers will be teaching in a classroom while students are physically present with them, teachers beginning on January 4th will be wearing a mask when teaching all lessons. We will continue using the current distance learning bell schedule. Instruction will continue to be delivered primarily through digital platforms such as Google Classroom and Google Meet. This is because teachers will be teaching a single lesson to students in 2 distinct learning environments at the same time. Teachers will be engaging in professional development in the coming weeks so they can learn how to effectively teach in what is a very different instructional modality from anything they have ever done before. Regarding technology, our district has purchased new touchscreen Chromebooks for every student, but the delivery has been delayed. So until those Chromebooks arrive, your student may need to bring a device, a charger, and headphones from home. Small group work will continue to happen mostly through digital platforms such as Google Meet, even on the day when your student is learning at school. This is because students in the classroom must maintain that 1 meter of distancing from one another and will need to avoid facing each other. All that said, the best way to collaborate will continue to be digitally. Hands-on learning will be able to continue, but will happen almost exclusively on the days that your student is learning at home. Our science, art, and career technical education teachers have gotten very creative and are finding ways to foster experiential learning by sending home materials such as clay, painting supplies, and screen printing frames, for example. Hands-on activities have to be limited on the day your student is at school because physical distancing requirements and guidelines about touching shared surfaces make it impossible for students to huddle around a science lab desk or a piece of fitness equipment or a prep station in culinary arts. On the day your student is learning at school, they will definitely have increased opportunities to interact with other students, especially outside of the classroom. All students, whether learning at home or at school, will continue to have opportunities to participate in on-campus, in-person extracurricular activities.
For those students and families that do select to attend campus 1 day per week, they will be placed into one of 4 groups, which will dictate which day they come. So we do have 4 groups. Approximately 25% of the student body will be attending one of the 4 days a week, whether that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And then on Fridays, all students will be learning at home. It's also important to note that regardless of whether you're on campus or at home, all instruction will be delivered via the digital platform through Google Classroom at the same time. Now, as an example for a student who chooses to learn from school, let's say that that the assigned day for the student, depending on how what group the student is placed in, is Wednesday. For example, Manny would attend class on campus on Wednesdays from 8:40 to 1:45. And the other days of the week, Manny would be at home doing distance learning. And all students still would be attending school on Fridays at home through distance learning. Nobody would attend the campus on Fridays.
Again, I want to thank our parents for viewing this presentation. Our hope and our goal, again, was to inform you so that you can have now a meaningful discussion with your student about the options for next steps. So to quickly recap what that looks like, I'll dive right in. So all families, again, will be given access to the SDA reopening survey on Monday, November 16th at 4 p.m. The survey will be open the entire week before Thanksgiving break, will be open through the Thanksgiving break, and the survey will close on Monday, November 30th at 4 p.m., which is that Monday we return from from Thanksgiving break. Again, each family will be asked to consider one of the two possible choices. They are, my student will opt to continue with distance learning entirely from home with their current schedule, or my student will opt to return to campus one day per week following their current schedule. The survey is going to help us in a ton of ways, but essentially it takes us back to sort of the summer in preparation for any school year. And that is, once we have an indication of who would like to come back, we then have to determine how many students per section, meaning per class, per teacher, are planning on coming back so that we can safely plan for every student and staff member in terms of all the health and safety guidelines that are out there. So anything you might imagine from wearing masks to directional, all the things that we covered today, the directions that students are walking, the spacing between students in the classroom, etc. Again, this commitment is critical to our planning and certainly critical to making sure, as we've always committed, that the health and safety of our students and staff is first. Again, a huge heartfelt thank you to all of you. It is an absolute pleasure to sit in this seat as principal of San Diego High School Academy. It's an honor and a responsibility that I take very seriously, not only as an educator in this district now for 20 years, but also as a parent of a sophomore and a seventh grader in our district. I know that this is not easy as we navigate forward. But our goal is to be as transparent as possible, to be communicative, to answer all your questions with the end goal of helping you make an informed decision for what's best for your student as we near the January 4 option for students to return to campus. This won't be the last time we'll communicate, that's for sure. Remember to use the QR code on the slide. We'll also include the link in the email that this presentation goes out with. But if you could take just a few minutes to provide some feedback, add your questions, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, that your comments and questions will guide tomorrow morning's Coffee with Camacho. And then again, as another critical reminder, if you can't attend that, no worries, we will record that and we will again distribute that presentation, that meeting, along with this presentation one more time to our SDA community tomorrow afternoon. Thanks again. Be well. And here we go, Mustangs. Hang in there. We're in this together. It takes a village, and I'm glad to be a part of yours. Thank you.